Hello, and thank you for watching my Leadership in Libraries presentation. My name is Jolene Stahl, and I'll be your host as I take you through the slides of this presentation that are based on my Leadership in Libraries essay. I am a 27-year-old female residing in the Jacksonville, Florida area. I have been a library professional for 3.5 years now, with experience in both the public and academic settings. This is currently my second year in the MLIS program with Valdosta, and I have enjoyed every class so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest of them. The picture on your right was taken in early 2021 in my current position of LA2 at FSCJ, where I handle acquisitions for the campus library. The subject of my presentation is Miss Chelsea Gentry, a fellow library professional. Chelsea and I met at the University of North Florida in 2018, where she started in a position in acquisitions and I was working as a student in digital projects. Our work projects never overlapped because of these differences in departments. However, we were still able to forge a friendship, and she's someone that I continue to look up to even though we no longer work on projects together. Before going into libraries, Chelsea served in the United States Navy for a brief time, and then her first position in a library was actually in the prison library setting, where she supervised inmates, built professional relationships with them, and advocated for better resources in the library. Now, some of these resources included updated law materials, and for anyone who doesn't know, updated law materials are important to have in either both an academic setting and a prison setting for various reasons, but specifically in a prison setting, these updated materials are important for inmates to have access to in order to understand legal jargon or maybe a case that they are personally dealing with or working on. Unfortunately, those materials were going to cost money, which was not a plan for the budget. So this was her idea for updated materials was not supported by her superiors. Moving on from the prison setting is when Chelsea came to UNF, and she was currently in the middle of her MLIS degree at that time from Valdosta. I can proudly say since then she has graduated. Back in April 2020, she finished her MLIS and is doing great things at UNF right now. From my observations of Chelsea, I believe that she exemplifies a leadership theory that can be described as situational. And according to our class readings, this situational theory proposes that leaders choose the best course of action based upon situational conditions or circumstances. Now, I've been able to witness Chelsea completing tasks in a variety of roles, anywhere from training students in the acquisitions department to giving presentations to her colleagues. Both of these tasks were executed differently in terms of tone and instruction. Obviously, someone who is a new student in a new department, you're going to treat a little bit differently because they don't know the setting, they don't know the jargon of working in libraries, and they're just not familiar with that, so you might treat them a little bit differently. Whereas when you're talking to your colleagues, they're going to know a lot more, and sometimes even more than you when talking about certain subjects. So I've seen that range of performance in Chelsea. And when you also consider that she worked in a prison library where it was very important to maintain a professional relationship and not really discuss anything personal, with the inmates, that also takes a certain amount of control when it comes to tone and jargon and communication. Chelsea's leadership style is one that can be described as charismatic. And according to our course readings, charismatic leaders are identifiable by their ability to inspire eagerness in their teams and are energetic in motivating employees to move forward. Chelsea quickly became known for her positive and upbeat attitude while working at UNF, and it was an inspiration for people working below her, around her, above her, everywhere. Everybody knew that Chelsea had an inspiring and wonderful personality, and that led to people being very agreeable and willing to do anything that she needed. She never really had a difficult time asking for help or getting people to do the things that she needed them to do. So that would be a positive aspect of a charismatic leadership style. A negative aspect would be that sometimes certain individuals who do not respond well to charisma maybe wouldn't take her seriously or consider her in a professional way, which can cause difficulties when trying to lead others. Now, I never personally saw an example of this at UNF, but during our discussions, during the interview that we had, she did mention that working with inmates was a little bit more difficult just because of the range of education and understanding and emotional intelligence. So among different kinds of individuals who interpret charisma in different ways, you'll get a range of reactions. But ultimately, or overall at UNF, we all received her charismatic style very graciously. As mentioned before, Chelsea did have many followers in her different work settings. So she did work with vastly different people in various settings. Of course, when you compare the prison versus academic setting, you're going to have some very obvious differences there, just in terms of education alone. She also had the ability to affect people in a positive way, also as mentioned before. People just really enjoyed her company when she was in the prison library system. She ended up really inspiring people and helping people in that unfortunate situation have a little glimmer of hope and joy in their lives when they did come to the library and see her. Additionally, at UNF, I did see this one personally a lot, where people just enjoyed dropping by her cubicle to have a chat. She was very open about just having candid and very casual conversations, but she also encouraged it by leaving out trays of snacks, so she was always very inviting. Chelsea has worked in a variety of work environments, but as far as her library experience is concerned, the prison library setting where she started was not very supportive. As mentioned earlier in the presentation, she had a lot of issues receiving support in a variety of issues, but specifically in the area of being able to get new materials in, as well as to cycle out the old material. So really anything that had to do with spending money or collection development was not supported in that area. Contrast to that, the university library setting where we both met has been much more supportive to Chelsea in her career and her goals. As mentioned earlier, she's been promoted to a position where she can now make suggestions and her position is received well, and her being promoted so quickly, because I think she was only in her beginning position for a year and a half to maybe 2 years, and then she was moved up to coordinator of acquisitions, and that's because she worked very hard and was recognized very early on for all of her hard work. The conclusion of my analysis is that Chelsea is an excellent leader. She's kind to others, even though it leaves her open to be taken advantage of, but she cares more about showing others kindness than, unfortunately, the negative aspects of that. She is inspirational and understanding and communicates effectively. She has a lot of confidence and is well-spoken, which I saw a lot of during our interview, but like I said, I've also seen her give presentations during conferences and to her colleagues, and she just exudes a lot of confidence, and I think that has a lot to do with her previous life experiences, which set her up well for a career in libraries. And I just want to take a moment to say I'm very grateful for this assignment. It allowed me to make a connection again with a former colleague who I just enjoy their company, but I also want to thank Chelsea specifically for agreeing to participate in our interview, which happened on June 23rd, 2021. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my presentation, and I look forward to your reviews. Thanks.